cheers to finding your treasure. All right. Well, I wanted to start out with a quote from one of my favorite books, The Alchemist. I've read it 4 times at least. It's my annual read. I love this book so much, and if you haven't read it, it's really magical. You should read it. So, the first quote, the boy asked, "Why do we have to listen to our hearts?" The alchemist said, "Because wherever your heart is, that is where your treasure is." And it's true. So the second part, people are afraid to pursue their most important dreams because they feel that they don't deserve them or that they'll be unable to achieve them. Which is true. A lot of people are afraid of failure. They think that they're not worthy, or why would they be able to achieve their dreams? And it just puts a block in front of people that all they have to do is go around or go under or go over, and they can get to their dreams. Or maybe there's a few more hurdles, but still they can figure out a way to get to their treasure. They can listen to their heart and figure out a way to make their dreams happen. But failure and the judgment of other people stops so many people, myself included, stopped me a lot of times. And I have to say, listen, like, you can do this, you can make this happen. Don't worry about the judgment, don't worry about the failure. And even if you do fail, you'll have a great lesson from it and a great story. I think everyone should go after their dreams, because even if you do go after it and you do fail, the pursuit of going after your dreams is still worth the adventure and the excitement. Even if you don't achieve the dream, you don't have to sit 80 years from now going, what if I would have went for that? You can say, I went for that, it didn't work out, but it was a great time, and now I'm content doing whatever I am doing now. So I think everyone should go what their heart tells them to do, go after their dreams, go after the treasure, whatever that treasure may be. It can be, for me, it's traveling, it can be, I don't know, it could be reading, it could be pottery, it could be building houses, whatever your dream treasure is, whatever your treasure is that you're going for. It could be money, it could be love, go for it. Don't worry about other people's judgment, don't worry about the failure. You'll always have people there to support you, even when you don't think you have people there to support you. They're there, even if they're strangers, they'll come to you. So I thought I would share a story. I'm just gonna keep that. Thought I'd share a story about a time I first experienced failure traveling. So that is when I quit my first job, went hitchhiking, and I was going through Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and those all went great. Every time I was hitchhiking, put my thumb out, but within the first few cars, or within the first 10 minutes, no longer than 10 minutes, I'd get picked up every time. And I'd ask people, why'd you pick me up? They're like, you look like, a well-astute, handsome young man who's dressed well and like a good kid. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. So it worked out great every time. So I got to the bottom of Wyoming after I got kidnapped, by the way. And there was one town, I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but it was like 4 PM, and I got to the side of the road, and it was like a barren place, like it was like a high desert. And I stuck my thumb out. It's like 4 PM. I was trying to go to Denver, and I waited to get picked up. 10-15 minutes go by, and like, wow, I can't believe I haven't got picked up yet. It's crazy. An hour went by. I was like, oh my goodness, like, I've never waited this long. What's wrong with me? And like, is my fly open? Am I dressed weird? Like, do I smell? What's going on? Do I look weird? I started wondering what's wrong with me. 2 hours goes by. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just getting pretty worried. It's getting late. I'm gonna have to figure out shelter. I'm getting hungry. Like, what am I doing? So I waited out for another hour. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in trouble. Like, I don't know what to do. I have nowhere to sleep. I don't know where to go. There's nowhere to stay. It's a little town, no hostels, no nothing. Another hour goes by. I sat out there for like 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours, somewhere in between there. No one picked me up. And at this point, I was like, wow, everyone was right. Like, I finally failed. No one was gonna pick me up. Like, they all told me hitchhiking, I couldn't do it. No one could. Like, this 2020, whatever it is, you can't do that anymore. They were right. I was like, oh my gosh, like, why did no one pick me up? What's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? So I was so sad that no one picked me up, and I was so lost and scared and alone. I had nowhere to stay, and it was getting dark, and I was hungry. I went to the local Denny's. I sat down, ordered some food, and it's like the first time I started crying on my trip. I just sat there and cried. I put my sunglasses on in the restaurant, and I just cried. I'm like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to sleep. I don't want to sleep in a parking lot. It was just terrible. So it was the first time that I failed during my travels. And I was like, wow, like people were right. I can't do this. And I was like, all right, like stop. Like, yes, you can. You're a strong boy. You're smart. Figure this out. You got friends. So I decided to collect myself, and I decided to rent a hotel room to boost my spirits, to put me in a safe environment for the night. Got the hotel room, called my parents, called my friends. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, how do I fix this? Used my support in my community. And then I sat down with myself in meditation. I was like, I can do this. I'm going to show people I can keep going and figure this out. So I looked at the map. I found a different alternative route to Denver, aside from the other road I was looking at to get picked up on. So in the morning, I took a taxi to this other road, and I started hitchhiking again. So again, I had my thumb out, like 8 in the morning, still trying to get to Denver. And no one was picking me up. 10-15 minutes goes by, no one picks me up. And then, And then 10-15 minutes goes by, no one picks me up. Then it's an hour. I'm like, oh my gosh, same thing. I'm like, again, I'm just sitting there like almost in tears. I'm like, why won't I get picked up? Like, why is it taking so long? And then maybe an hour and a half goes by, and this guy starts walking up to me from down a different road. And I'm like, hey, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, are you hitchhiking? Where'd you come from? He's like, oh, I just came from the jail down that road, like a couple miles. I'm like, there's a jail down that road? He's like, oh yeah, like a lot of people come up this road from the jail when they get out because they have nowhere else to go. And then they hitchhike out of here, or they get out of here somehow. I'm like, oh my goodness, that is why no one is picking me up. It's because they think I'm from the jail. They think I'm a criminal. Not that criminals are bad people, or that people in jail are bad people. People were just assuming I was a bad person because of a circumstance that was just down the road. So they assumed I was a bad person, I guess. But I couldn't get picked up. So I was like, gosh, I can't get picked up over there. Can't get picked up here. How do I figure myself out of this one? It's only 10 in the morning. I got all day. So there's a gas station close by, and I'd go to every pump. I'd be like, I'm not a criminal. I'm just hitchhiking. Can you please give me a ride just anywhere but here? No. I'm like, again, why does everyone think I'm a criminal? Why does everyone think, why won't anyone pick me up? I was so sad. I'm just like, gosh, like really getting down on my luck. This is a real bummer. I was getting really sad. I was like, why did my heart tell me to go traveling, go hitchhiking when I'm just going to be stuck in the middle of Wyoming and down on my luck? Like, this sucks. I hate this. So I was like, all right, like, keep trying. I can do this. So I finally went up to another gas station pump a little later. And I went up to this guy. I was like, listen, like, sir, I'm not a criminal. I'm trying to go to Denver. Can you please get me out of this town, just to the next town, or as far as you want to get me? And he goes, I'm from Denver. I'll give you a ride all the way there. And like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. So I got in with him and his family. He was a firefighter in Denver. He was such a nice guy. He was just on a camping trip somewhere else. And he was just on his way back from his camping trip with his family. I was like so thankful that he gave me a ride. But no matter how down I got on myself, I was like, I know I can do this. I can keep going forward and get myself out of this. And eventually, somebody helped me out and picked me up and got me to my destination. And I was so thankful for him, and thankful for myself for the lesson, for the world for the lesson. And it was really fun. Like, my heart was hurting, and I thought something was wrong with me. And I was just looking at everyone's judgment, like, I was right. You fucked up. You couldn't do it. But it's like, actually, I figured it out, and I did do it. And I think everyone, you can figure it out if you try hard enough and, work at it. Some people will support you, and you will be able to figure out what you need to do to get to your treasure. So eventually I got to Denver. I stayed in a hostel for this first time. Stayed with like 12 people in the room. I was like, oh my God, you guys are all so fun. We're all hanging out, smoking weed on the rooftop. Like, what a good time. So, but yeah, everyone does fail. And I think everyone needs to know that everyone does fail. And that shouldn't stop you from going after your treasure, whatever that may be. And the judgment shouldn't stop you from going after your treasure, whatever that may be. So there are people that support you, even if it doesn't look like it. You have silent supporters, you have strangers that support you, and you have alternate routes. You just have to figure them out. The world is testing you. So how do we figure it out? Figure it out together. We're all in this together. Reach out, collaborate. So I think everyone should go after their dreams and their treasure and not give up, because the pursuit of the adventure is more worth it than the failure. So cheers to going after your treasure and not letting failure stop you. Cheers.